that came afterwards, it's actually documented that the people who put on the Woodstock Festival actually watched this movie like the days leading up to putting on their festival 2 years later, 1969. And it's kind of hard to believe now, but bringing all these different artists together in one spot back in that particular weekend had really not been done before. I think that Hannah Baker did a great job, obviously, doing a different type of documentary, which had really never been done before, and then a lot of movie concert documentaries that came decades after kind of followed his lead. So this still stands as as a motion picture in terms of the technique and the camera work and the sound that they had to use at the time. A really groundbreaking film. So I'd like to do now, I'd like to invite a couple of people up here with me to help me do this next presentation. First, I'd like to welcome two members of the Board of Directors of the Long Island Music Hall of Fame, Jim Faith and Jeff James, if they can join me here at the moment. And I'd like to invite two of David's musical colleagues. I don't know if Mario's still here, but Kerry Carney is here, so come on up. Mario's here somewhere. He's on the phone. Mario? Well, if he comes in, he comes in. But, all right. So actually, David, why don't you come over here for a second? You kind of stand in the middle. And let me just say a couple of things. All right, so obviously, we spent most of our time today leading up to this moment where David is really just in the movie for a glimpse. You see a lot of his leg behind the keyboard, but you hear a lot of his organ, though, which I think is pretty cool. And so in a word, I know it's kind of hard to kind of think back to that weekend, but that just must have been amazing. This brings back probably very bittersweet memories, because so many of these people that David knew have passed away. And I think it's when Janis passed away, you played at the wake, right?
Yeah, I played at her memorial.
Yeah. So
actually, a song that Country Joe wrote. Country Joe and Janis Joplin were an item for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and they used to argue all the time, fight all the time. And so she said to him, "Joe, write me a song. Write a song for me before we split up," because he knew they were going to break up. Even though it was like a real intense relationship, intense romance. They really loved each other, but it was not for the long term. So he wrote the song called Janis, and he presented it to the band Big Brother and the Holding Company. It's a waltz, and they really didn't know what to do with it. So we recorded it, and it's a very nice song. So I performed it at Janis's memorial. Janis was a good friend.
So this is 50 years ago, and then again, to give due credit to the decades afterward, but you've had a stellar career. For the decades later, you were a member of a terrific band called the Blues Project. You actually played with Jimi Hendrix and Tim Hardin, and then you went into instructional recording,
actually,
which was early on.
I was always teaching, because when I first started playing the guitar, some of my friends would come up and say, "Hey, well, show me that." And after a while, they said, "Can I take some lessons from you?" So I was always teaching, so when I have several books and videos and all kinds of stuff on how to play the blues piano. Also, I have a couple of one guitar record on how to play 2 guitar records.
And you still record. You have a couple of solo records out in the last couple of years.
3 solo records. Yeah.
So you're still very active, and you play locally.
I play with
Kerry Carney.
That's right.
He plays with Kerry.
did.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
And you also play
I
with
was
Sid.
I was 7, by the way, when that movie was made.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And you play in the city pretty regularly.
Yeah, I play. I'm part of a blues jam. I play every Monday at the Red Lion.
Okay, so if you're in the city, Monday at the Red Lion in the city, go check David out. I'm not sure if he.
It's the best blues jam I've ever played in.
All right, very cool. Very cool. And so obviously, the reason why I've invited David's colleagues up here is because those of us who think about people that are important to the history of music And if they have a connection to either Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, Suffolk County, through our organization, the Long Island Music Hall of Fame, we feel it appropriate to recognize and to honor them in such a way that people who may remember the work that they did perhaps and didn't realize that they were still active and still very vibrant, as well as documenting historically the tremendous people that have come from our region and have really contributed to music, and clearly David definitely has. So to that end, what I would like to do is on behalf of my colleagues here, Jim and Jeff, we give out every now and then these awards. They're called the Long Island Music Sound Award, and it reads, Long Island Music Sound Award presented to David Bennett Cohen for outstanding contributions to Long Island's musical heritage. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
And certainly very, very much deserved. And the students here at Stony Brook have also put a little goodie bag for you, so you can have a little bottle to drink out of, ACH bottle, an ACH t-shirt. So you can certainly have this.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody.
Students.
This is great. Thank you, guys.
So, what we're going to do now is we're going to spend a little bit of time before we close up that David again has graciously agreed to perform for us. And I'll just give it over to him, and we'll take it from there. So hang on, and we'll settle David in at the keyboard, and we'll enjoy some live music.
Thank you all.